Good afternoon and welcome to Three Gray Sweatshirts. I'm Tyler Pandolfo alongside Joe Capri and Laik Green. Today we have a roundtable discussion on the opening week of the baseball season. So first up, the Mets had a great week this week. They went 6-3. Peter Alonso hit 3 home runs. Laik, what's your biggest takeaway for the Mets?
Well, the Mets have to be happy with this first week of the season. They're 6-3. They showed up in Washington opening week. They came back to New York and they showed up there. Peter Alonso in 34 at-bats has 3 homers, 11 RBIs, and a .382 average, scorching. Mets fans could not be more happy with this kid. I can't wait to see how he improves over the season. Of course, he's going to have some up and downs. He's a rookie. All rookies have their struggles. The first what's going to happen is he's starting off great, starting off hot. The league is going to adjust to him. And then once the league adjusts to him, he's going to have to adjust to the tendencies of the pitchers. So I'm really excited to see how he grows as a player this season.
Do you think he has any potential to win Rookie of the Year this year?
I mean,
so far?
I definitely think, way early, I definitely think he's definitely in the running. I mean, .382 average, 3 homers, 11 RBIs in the first week of the season. You can't get much better than that. I mean, the only other person who I think could maybe challenge him would be Victor Robles from the Washington Nationals, but that would be the only other 2 in the NL that I could come off the top of my head.
So, Joe, which pitcher on the Mets do you think had a great start to this year?
Obviously, it's Jacob deGrom. I mean, the guy won a Cy Young, and he's still pitching fantastic. He got an extension. I think he could be in the running again for another Cy Young.
One last thing on the Mets. Do you think they are capable of winning 85 games this year?
Oh, absolutely. If the Mets stay healthy, they will win 85 games, absolutely. The pitching staff has to stay healthy. The infield has a lot of depth, but they have to stay healthy. The outfield also has a lot of depth. They have to stay healthy. That was one thing that Brody Van Wagenen really did well this offseason, which was address the need for depth. The Mets were not good last year because they had no depth. After their first line went down with injuries, they could not adapt to the injuries that mounted. So this year they have a whole lot of depth, and we'll see where they go. But I definitely think they can win 85 games. Another thing to say about Jacob deGrom before we move on, he broke the record for consecutive quality starts. It was Bob Gibson's record. I think he had 26 straight quality starts after his start against Miami, in which he hit a home run in that game as well. So he broke the all-time record.
Well, I think the Mets will win 92 games. I don't know why. I just feel 92. They're good. They're not last year's team because they stunk. And so I hope 92 games is the beautiful number there.
All right. And what do you think would be the biggest obstacle the Mets would face this year?
Besides injuries, just the competitive division. The NL East is stacked. The Nationals are still a formidable team, although not as great as years past. They're still formidable. The Braves, much improved the last couple of years. They haven't really done much to improve from last season. They lost Anibal Sanchez, although he was a veteran who had a wonder season. He was a big part of that rotation. So we'll see how they last. I do not see them making the playoffs. I think it's just they haven't done enough to improve. But the Phillies also, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, you can't forget about these additions. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely think the Mets have a shot to contend all season long.
I really think the only obstacle in the Mets' way is Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies, because the Braves really didn't add anybody. I'm pretty sure it was Brian McCann and Josh Donaldson.
Right.
And Josh Donaldson is, I'm assuming, not going to be the Josh Donaldson of 2016. And Brian McCann is an okay catcher, and we have Wilson Ramos. But the main guy, the main obstacle, I think, is Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies. That is the only obstacle I see holding the Mets back from the NL East.
So you think the Phillies are not overrated? They should be taken seriously.
Their bullpen and their pitching is questionable. Hitting-wise, they have everything you can ask.
They have a whole lot of power.
That's everything you can ask for. I mean, listen, do I think Bryce Harper's going to become this amazing guy? I think he's going to bat 250, and the contract is ridiculously huge for that guy. Like Mike Trout got, was it 450, 430?
Yeah,
12 years. That guy deserves it. He's the best player in baseball. Bryce Harper last year batted 249. I remember he hit 40-something home runs, if I'm correct.
Right, around there.
I mean, like, why would I pay that guy? I want to pay Mike Trout that type of money. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't think that guy deserved it at all, but Philly paid him, and now he's a Philly for 13 years.
Well, we are in the day and age, Joe, of major contracts. Doesn't matter.
Well, now
you have one flashy season, you could
What is
strike
seriously?
big.
I'm not even joking. What has Bryce Harper done for the city of Washington? Yeah.
Hasn't done much. And I agree
He
with
hasn't
you.
done anything.
There's
He
no
hasn't
pennants
done-
to show for it.
he
There's
has-
not too many playoff successes.
The Washington Nationals have never gone over the first round.
Right.
Like, Bryce Harper did absolutely nothing besides have fancy haircuts and flip his hair.
Well, I'll say this about Bryce Harper. He's a very, very streaky player. What he does is one year he'll hit 250, one year he'll win MVP. He's an up and down kind of player. He's not the Mike Trout you're looking for with, you know, the consistency and the durability and the defensive aspect. He's a guy who's going to come in, he's probably going to hit 25 home runs, but he's not, you know, a top 10 player like Mike Trout was. So I think
definitely agree with you.
He did get pretty overpaid by the Phillies.
Also, think about this. In, what is it, 13 years, right?
13 years.
You think in year 13 he's going to be batting over 200?
Well,
I think he's going to be like Chris Davis. Chris Davis is over 44 right now.
oh yeah, that's awful. But I think Bryce Harper, with him, I think none of those big contracts have worked. I mean,
No,
Cano,
a big contract will
look at
never
Cano,
I mean,
work.
listen,
look at
Cano-
Pujols, look at all these.
Cano's a Met right now. I mean, he's not doing bad.
I mean, he's not the same player he was.
Oh,
with the
no, I
Yankees.
agree with you. Yeah.
But I mean, they've definitely taken a step back. I mean, Cano and Pujols, even Scherzer's contract. You know, he's got three more years. You
Imagine
might
you're the
see
Orioles
him
right now
fall off.
with Chris Davis. And I think it's 167, if I'm not mistaken.
167.
Well, see, what happened with Chris Davis is he was he has a problem. He has ADD. So what happened with him is he was taking Adderall, which is like a medication, and all of a sudden, baseball decided to make that a performance-enhancing drug. So then they suspended him for taking it. So once he stopped taking it, he just, you know,
Fell off
the
completely.
rails.
He's over 44.
He had one of the worst seasons in modern
I mean,
baseball
he hit-
history.
What did he hit, 161?
167.
I think.
I mean,
So
It's terrible.
but here's the thing, and you know, no disrespect to him, but I mean, he you know, he lost focus from that.
I
well,
mean,
there's not much you could do about something like
listen,
that. That's
he's
the
getting
regulation.
paid. Like, I mean, he's getting paid. Like, what does he care? I mean, I'm not saying what does he
No,
care.
I understand that, but I mean, they should have known. I mean, the Orioles should have known that before they gave him the money.
Well, I don't think they could have anticipated the rule change in Major League Baseball. But back to the point, like we started off, these big contracts do not work. You look at Stanton, he was already traded. I mean, that's a different story. That was for financial reasons in Miami. But any single time a player is signed long-term, 9 times out of 10, the team that signs the contract does not anticipate having that player on the payroll in year 13. It's just for show. It's to give them what they want in terms of their demands, and eventually down the line, either usually in the middle of the contract, there's usually a period where at the beginning, the pay in which they receive every year isn't that much greater, and towards the end of the contract is when they get paid more, and that is usually when teams try to cut ties with the player.
Like Bryce Harper, like I could just think of a prime example because the man was a Met. Bobby Bonilla, that's like such a Bobby Bonilla contract.
They're still paying him. They're still paying him.
2030, 2030.
Well, when Harper's contract is over, Bonilla's contract will still be going on for another 3 years.
What are they paying him, like $1 million a year, right?
Yeah, $1 million a
So
year.
what is
My
that,
God.
July 1st, Bobby Bonilla Day?
Yeah, yes, July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day.
Here's what I was thinking also. Imagine if Matt Harvey signed an extension, 5 years, after
That would've been
they
the
won
worst
the World
contract.
Series.
Look at that.
Gave Jacob deGrom money. Can
look
you
at-
imagine what
Terrible.
the Mets
He's an
would have
angel.
done?
Now
You look at a guy in the Marlins. You look Wei-Yin Chen. He's got 5 years, $80 million. He's getting paid, I think, something like 16 to 20 million this season, and he's sitting in the bullpen. He's pitched 2 innings so far this season, which shows how Don Mattingly wants to use him. He's just not a valuable pitcher, and the Marlins are stuck with probably the worst contract for a pitcher currently in the major leagues.
Yeah, I don't understand why they released Straley. He was on the Marlins. I don't know
Well,
why
the
they
thing about that
released
is
him.
they're trying to focus on the rotation depth in which they have in the young, with their young arms. You have guys like Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara, Trevor Richards, the guy they pulled out of the independent leagues. Those are the 3 just to name a few. Caleb Smith off the Yankees rebounding from that scary shoulder surgery, that shoulder injury he had. And then you have guys in AAA, Nick Nader, Zach Gallen, who are this close to being called up and being ready in the major league level. And you have guys at single A too who are very close as well, a couple more years. So the Marlins' focus was not on the now, it was on the future. To get rid of him, they wanted just to make more space for the young guys in that case.
All right, now we're going to do a baseball over-under segment. So we're going to stay with the Marlins. So their number right now, over-under, is 67.5. Do you think they'll go over or under 67.5?
I think they'll go over. I think they'll probably win 69 to 70 games. I think if they win 70 games, that'll be a success for that season.
So the Marlins as well. I don't know. Like I heard the pitching staff is like gonna be good, so I'll go for 67 and a half.
All right, and also we'll shift over to the American League. The Yankees number is really high, 96 and a half. What do you think about that,
Not at all.
Joe?
I think the pitching staff is not terrible. Listen, they have Paxton. After Paxton, they
Tanaka.
have they have okay. So it's gonna be Tanaka, Paxton, Happ, and then CC, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I do not
Severino?
see CC. Oh, and well, Severino's
Hurt
as of right now, so I'm not gonna talk about Severino. But they're not good. Like besides Paxton and Tanaka, I really don't see them doing very like not. Well, they're gonna be good, but like I say 80-something games.
I think the key for the Yankees is getting healthy and staying healthy. Right now, half the team is on the IL. You have guys like Sabathia, you have guys like Severino, and Duhar just went down. That was a scare for them, but he seems like he's going to come back hopefully at some point this season. They have a lot of injuries right now, and if they can rebound and get healthy from these injuries and go on a little bit of a mid-season run, then I think they probably can go over. But do I believe that they will? No, I think they will go under. I think they'll win probably just due to these injuries between 90 and 94 games this season.
All right, and that's all the time we have for today. This has been baseball with three guys in gray sweaters.
So 3 gray sweat. It's 3 gray sweatshirts, guys. Have a good night.
Oh.